And Chris, from the brand side, what do you think about brand safety? Like, what are your thoughts on that,
I
or being
think
brand safe?
I think one thing that I got from what everyone was saying is very valid, but one thing I picked up is white privilege, and I want you guys to look at the perspective of black privilege. There's so much privilege in being a black person, and I think we spend a lot of time on white people doing, the bare minimum. Shout out to Alex Earl, because I really do like her bare minimum quality like content. But it's just like there's so much privilege in being a black person, and only things that can come from a black person. I think you guys should really step into that and really own that. There's a lot of money to be made out there for being a black content creator. And I guess just like focusing more on that helps. I work for a black owned brand, and we're always looking for black people. I'm always looking for black people. So I can't sit here and say that what you're saying is wrong, because I'm not a content creator. I'm not in that space. But I know that I'm personally looking for black content creators. I'm checking the tags. I'm looking, for whoever it is that's creating content that is high quality. So I just want to say that there are people out there looking for you. So like, please do not like diminish or dim or stop, because I'm out here looking. So
Yes.
I think the disconnect that we have, or what makes it harder, is you guys want content creators that are gonna have high engagement rates. And for some reason on TikTok, I don't know if it's a suppression thing, I don't know if it's just what people tend to look for, but I noticed that the black content creators that were consistently on my timeline, that were consistently going viral, it's because they were calling out racist, like doing that call out culture. You know that genre where you like stitch someone's video and you like, do that whole thing. That's not my thing. Like, I really don't like to focus on my content on like non-black people. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I just like talking about my life and just being representation. I don't like all of my content being around like, look at this racist thing that this person did, or this colorist thing that, because I'm literally amplifying their message if I do that.
Right.
But I noticed that that's what gets so much engagement. And when I'm just doing regular stuff, then all of a sudden it's just like very like just low numbers.
Yeah.
And I'm content with that. Like, my self-esteem can handle that, but our brand's going to be able to acknowledge like the algorithm favors a certain type of content from black people. So we have to overlook the same standards that we might have for non-black creators, simply because it's just like, it's kind of, the game is rigged against us.
my question for you is, why do you feel like brands are looking for people that have high engagement? Like, why is high engagement the thing that you guys think that we want?
Oh,
That's
can
what
I-
they tell us.
Oh my God.
That's what they tell us.
I will not name drop right here on this episode, but hear me out. It happened today. It happened today. I'm going to show y'all the email so
Say their
everybody
name
can
so we
confirm.
know the person.
I don't want to say their name because I really do. I use this product through and through. They follow me on TikTok. I have done brand deals with them before. My rate is a fair rate. I have done the math. I've done the science. I am very clear on my rate. They came back to me with a rate saying that their marketing specialist said that my engagement deserved X. X did not have a comma in it. X did not have a comma in it.
Oh,
and then
X was
when I rebutted the rate didn't have a comma in it. When I rebutted, they told me, we took another look at your engagement, and because your last 4 videos, I'm gonna show y'all the email so y'all know I'm not telling a story. Your last 4 videos didn't hit 50,000 views. There's no way we can give you that dollar amount.
Yeah.
So I just want to say you're not wrong, but there's so many other factors that go into picking content creators that are outside of engagement, because there's so many different campaigns that we run. So we run campaigns for just brand awareness, and you can have 0 followers, and we just want people to talk about the brand. That's where these PR lists come from. I don't work on PR lists. That's, shout out to them, very small shit. I don't do that. I do big brand campaigns. So, but we still need those people to do that. We need the UGC creators
Yes.
to do that. It's a very important role. So those people don't have the most followers, but we give them product, they make the video, whatever. Then there's people that we're looking for a specific like product launch. So if you're someone that comes and says like, oh, I have dry skin, and you talk about dry skin in your content, your engagement rate can be lower because you are a specific person that we're targeting, and your audience is following you because you have dry skin and they have dry skin issues.
Yeah.
So that your engagement rate can be lower because we're looking for people like you. And then there's campaigns that we run that are like evergreen, or campaigns that are specific like for Black History Month. So you're Black. I don't really care so much about your engagement. That can be also lower, but you're a Black person and you make content about XYZ. So I just think that sometimes like making personal connections with the content director or influencer marketer helps you out, because you can fit yourself in campaigns that also make sense for you that you can charge more for.
True.
So like maybe you weren't a right fit for that campaign, or maybe that pitch was just like a pitch because you want to work with that brand, but maybe you don't fit into their marketing strategy. So find ways to put yourself there so you can also charge the top dollar, because that's what we're looking for anyway. So if somebody's telling me that, I need $5K for this video, we only have $3K for it, I'm going to find that extra $2K because I need you in this video because you make the kind of content that I need, regardless of your engagement rate.
Well, it's needless to say we need more of you in those roles. Because
Yes,
I'm
we
just
do.
saying,
Right,
based on my
like, I don't-
experience, it's not it. It's really
Also,
not.
I'm a marketer. I'm not someone that's like
See?
looking for people that are tagging topicals. Like there's so many people tagging topicals. Shout out to topicals. But I'm looking for very specific people to push our branding and our marketing initiatives forward.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm looking for very specific things. Again, like I work on bigger campaigns. So it's just like with a product launch, I'm looking for people that have dry skin if we're launching a product for eczema. I'm not just looking for anybody because anyone can open a box, do that little thing that y'all be doing, you know? And I'm just like, that's cute. But
I'm
but-
feeling gas.
but what I really need is someone that talked about like their dry skin a few months ago. Like, oh, I went on a date and that man saw my dry ashy elbows. Like something like that. That I can go back and be like, you guys can stitch that video and be like, okay, remember when I was talking about my dry elbows? Like, now I got a product. Shout out to Topicals for giving me that product. So those are the opportunities that I'm looking for. I'm not just looking for random people, especially pitches. Like sometimes they just don't hit. So I hope that that perspective like brings a little bit different in terms of how you're pitching because we are looking for you, but just sometimes it doesn't fit in like the marketing strategy or like what we're trying to do in the first place.
Okay. I want to shout out people like Chris
I'm
behind the
sorry.
scenes.
Right.
Because my first brand trip that I went to, Coachella, I went with my sister. It was a really great time. Was because of somebody who was Black and working at Red Bull. And anytime, not every single time I get, a brand deal, but oftentimes when I do get deals, it's because there are Black people and people of color in these spaces who
Exactly.
recognize, our worth, recognize what it is that we're doing. They believe in us. So shout out to people like you because people like you are important, especially for content creators.
I try. I want to get y'all in the right spot. Also, like putting you guys in a wrong spot, you guys will get your check and then it's not going to elevate you. So like for you, like remember I hit you up for that event that I wanted you to do hosting for because you are a host and you have that skill set. So I'm looking for people that have that skill set that can deliver. You don't do beauty content, but you're a host.
Right.
So that's putting you in the beauty space. So it's putting you in another market. There's tons of beauty podcasts.
Right.
So like that's the kind of shit that I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about long term. Like how can I help this person do what I need you to do? So I need you to show up and do the thing. But also like that's gonna put you can put that in a portfolio. It's living on our YouTube right now. You work with this huge beauty brand. Like Topicals isn't a small ass beauty brand.
Right.
So that's what I'm thinking of.
What you're saying is honestly really impactful because I think about the first ever paid brand deal I did. It was 2020. I think I had like 40,000 followers on TikTok. And they were like, well, how much do you want? And I just like used a random online calculator, those little guys, and it said I should have took $50. So I took $50 from a huge record label, like the third biggest record label in the United States paid me $50 to use this song and like open this little box or whatever. And I was like, cool, it was $50. I was like, shit, we in the middle of a pandemic. This is lit. Like, I wasn't even mad about it because like I hadn't even started my real job. Like at that point. And then 3 months later, a beauty brand reached out to me, and the woman who was emailing me, she was Black. Like I pulled her up on LinkedIn. And I sent her the rate, and she literally like sends me an email with no one else copied on it, like removes the whole team. And she's like, hey, listen, like you have like 75,000 followers, like $200 is not what you should be asking me for. Like max I can go for you is like 1,800. Like, so I'm willing to offer you the 1,800, but just like for future reference, like this is how you should calculate your rate.
Absolutely.
And she wasn't much older than me. She was maybe like 25 and I was like 21 at the time. And from that, I was like, oh, you tell me I've been leaving money on the table. That's why these people agreeing so quick. Once I figured that out, I said, oh, if we're not negotiating, there's money on the table.
Yep.
That's when I realized. And I was like,
Absolutely.
oh, so shout out her. Like, she works at a huge like ad agency in New York. Like, I'm not gonna name her name just because she was supposed to do that, but like she really ate with that because from that point on, especially as I started growing and I was independent and brands would hit me up, big brands, I would just be throwing outrageous numbers into the strap. I'd be like, I want $25,000. And they'd be like, we can do 18. And I'd be like, I can do 23.
And that's how it should go. And you should also add your Black text. Like back to the point of me using Black privilege. There is so much privilege in Black people making content. Because again, white people cannot make Black content, but Black people can make mainstream white content because that's just how it is. So like use your niche. Like although you have your niche, your lifestyle, whatever it is, cooking, whatever it is, you are also Black. So like at Black History Month is coming right around the corner. Add an extra 2K. You need me.
Right.
Especially if you hit me up the 1st of February for some shit you need on the 14th. Ooh, baby.
Which they love to.
We
do.
going crazy on your ass in the
Right.
negotiations.
So have you guys ever dealt with imposter syndrome when it came to like naming your rate? Because I know early on, like, and my followers still clown me about this to this day. Like, when I first started, I was like, okay, maybe if I get good enough engagement, like, I could get some free hair. You know, I was just in it for the free wigs. I'm like,
I hear
okay.
you.
I was
'Cause one
like,
adore me hit me up.
okay, I was like, okay, maybe I can get some free wigs. And, you know, present day is like, my expectations were way too low.
course.
And I got to this point of understanding because of, you know, getting over imposter syndrome and being comfortable with, like, naming my worth. Have you guys dealt with that at all?
I feel like it's not necessarily imposter syndrome that I have a problem with. I think it's being a full-time content creator, only because I don't know how long it's going to sustain me. So I enjoy working. I enjoy my career. So I never want to do it full-time. I always wanted to do it part-time. And so putting in that effort to constantly reach out, to send emails, to send follow-up, to negotiate back and forth is a lot for me. And so sometimes I feel like I let myself settle just because I'm like, this is just so much to be able to juggle both, you know? So I feel like if anything, that's like the thing that I struggle with the most is being able to set aside the time to do both.
Yeah. I would say for me, definitely because I come from the south side of Chicago. I'm from poverty, born and raised in that. And so when you get to this rate where you're telling somebody, you know, even still, I'm gonna post this one video and I'm gonna make this amount. It for me, it's still sometimes a hard pill to swallow. It's still like, wow, okay, yeah, maybe I don't deserve that amount. You know, you say, especially because, you know, outside of my girl here, brands a lot of times don't just sign the dotted line when you tell them your rate. And so that makes you more so like, well, oh my, maybe I don't deserve this. You're right. All right. All you got is X amount. I'll take it. I should be grateful to even deserve this. I still experience that to this day. Even with the story that I was telling y'all about, I was still like, it hits you. It does. You're like, okay, I didn't get 50,000 on my last videos. Just being honest. It's like, you know, but how I really push through it is really saying like, no, man, are you crazy? Like, do you see what you're doing? But it is hard. It's still hard for me to this day. So absolutely, especially when it comes to my coins, especially when it comes to my rate.
And I feel like often when I do try to negotiate, I be getting ghosted sometimes. And that shit is so discouraging.
Yes.
Like, everyone be like, no, you can ask for more, do more. I'm like, I only asked for $250 more than ghosted me. Are you serious?
No, for
So
real.
like sometimes I'm like I don't really feel that whole like, oh, negotiate, ask for rate,
Talk
like shoot
about
for the
it.
moon, because I'm just like, no, y'all, we be getting
Talk
ghosted.
about it.
Like
Talk
Okay,
about
listen,
it.
I hear you. But
Talk
here's the
about
thing.
it.
I treat like these brand managers like if it's like me and my boyfriend in a fight. Like, oh baby, like answer that email. Like, answer that email because I'm gonna email you again, and you gonna respond because you're gonna realize that your manners are bad. Like, you know, you're gonna have to respond to me. But especially when I was like fully independent, like I have this one friend, and he also recently signed like huge management agency, and he was negotiating all of his stuff. So before he signed with this management agency, he was like a damn near millionaire, just off the strength of like making content for like a year. So because you know that thing, they give men so much for just like folding shit and like putting you know, so you know, clean up their house, soft black man, you know,
Right.
they give them so much for that. So I remember like this deal where what they asked me for, when I looked at it, I was like, this is $150,000 worth of labor. Like as soon as I read through, I was like, you're asking me for all these videos, 18 months of paid usage, you're gonna make millions of dollars.
18 months of paid usage.
Exactly. Smoking dick. They were smoking dick. It was crazy. And I'm like, they're asking me this, and I'm like, this is wild. Like, I give you 6 months of paid usage. I give you 12 months organic, but like, this is ridiculous. And it's like, as I'm calculating the number in my mind, I'm like, this feels egregious. Like, this is my full-time salary. Like, what am I gonna do here? And then he literally just sent me a template. He said, this is what you're gonna say. Tell them that it's gonna be valuable. They hit you up for a reason. You know, your audience is gonna eat it up. Like, they're gonna love it. We went back and forth. We ended up aligning pretty close to what I like originally asked for. And that's when it hit me. I said, oh, so the money was always in the budget.
Right.
The money was always in the budget. You were lying. You were lying off rip. Like, because how you telling me you got 15K and we coming in at a number way higher than that? So I think for me, it's like, once I realize like the worst these people can say is no, but you're not going to ghost me. Like, you're going to tell me no in that email. But you absolutely, like, that's just bad manners. Like, I was raised correctly. Like, even when you want to say no, you say no. You don't just stop talking to somebody. Be like, hey, we can't do it right now. I'll keep you in mind. And I'll be like, okay, thank you so much. Like, well, I always ask to, like, flex on the terms. So it's like, what you originally offered, if you can't meet me at my price, like, let's flex. Because I like y'all. I do want to work with y'all. And I want to have these relationships because, for me, I don't want a brand deal to be a one-off thing that you do in January and you don't talk to anybody else. It's like, okay, cool. Like, you had this in January, like, come back to me in June, come back to me in December. Like, let's keep working together. Let's have a long-standing relationship.
Right.
Especially because I like your product and I'm already using it. Like, I'm already showing it to my audience. They're already buying it. Like, the least you can do is throw me a little coupon code and we make it work. You know? So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Chris, any advice to content creators, Black content creators, influencers on negotiating?
So I actually don't handle negotiations, but charge what you're worth, please. But also, one thing I want you to like bring in perspective as well is like one thing that people think is brands have like a lot of money. They do, but we have a budget specifically for per campaign. Sometimes it's per person, sometimes it's per like whatever the situation is. So yeah, there is more money like in the budget, but then that takes away from hiring more people. So for example, if we have a $50,000 campaign budget and you want 45 of that, so then it's going to be you and one other person that we have to cheat for 5K. So like that's like one perspective that I just want you to bring into it, because it's kind of just like you think that we have all this money, and there is like a lot of money, but it's delegated per campaign because you can only spend X amount of money to get a return on investment. So this is where like engagement comes in and all these other factors of like, what are we getting for this? Because yeah, we can pay you the rate, but then that doesn't give anything to us. And now you want to work with us more, and we've already proven that you can't deliver because we paid you more than what we allotted the budget for. So that is just like another back end. Again, that's nothing for you to worry about or like nothing for you to consider, but just notice that like if somebody's like, oh, that's not in the budget, like don't think that we're like saying we don't want to pay you or your rate is too high. It's just like sometimes it's literally, I got $5 and you asking for 10. Like I don't have it. I got to go print it somewhere. So that's what it is. But honestly, just pay, like honestly, just negotiate like what you want. I feel like that's what it is in life. Like some people complain and say like, oh, like these people are getting paid more. That's what they negotiated. So you can also negotiate that much too. No one's stopping you from doing that. Also, your point about getting ghosted, I'm really sorry that happened to you, or just in general that happens to you. But I will say a lot of these influencer marketers will like block you or put you like in spam. So like we're ignoring you, but we're not getting the messages. Like it's going into like a spam folder. Wow. So like for me, I guess like the best thing, like follow up twice or whatever, but just like don't burn that bridge by keep emailing and keep emailing.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, it's like max 2 times. It's like, but you gonna tell me.
If somebody owes you money, like if you already did the content and then you're waiting on your invoice.
Oh, fact.
Oh, please. But like that's how you end up like on spam lists and like block lists. And we all talk and say like, oh, this content creator is really hard to work with. Then you end up like, we don't want to work with you because somebody at this other brand told me that you're hard to work with and you keep emailing. We don't want that.
And just another point.
Maybe respond the first time.
But hearing all of this, like hearing everybody's perspective, could you imagine, right, for anyone who's listening, not being a content creator, not dealing with imposter syndrome? Because there's so many different things. You have, okay, I don't have the budget. You have, okay, your engagement is low. You have, okay, you don't fit this campaign. You have, okay, it's just so much that really it's almost kind of like impossible sometimes not to deal with imposter syndrome, because it's like, well, man,
you're right. Also, your perspective is coming from the artist perspective, and I'm not that. So there's no way that I can ever imagine what you guys are going through, because like I'm not an artist, and like my content creation is literally just me being like an asshole. So I don't care. I'm not doing this to put like content out the world and like feed people like content. You guys are doing this for a living, and that's your art. We're thinking about, okay, how can we make this make sense business wise? How are we gonna get a return on investment? So we're not thinking about it as like your art and like downplaying your art. It's just like, again, you asking for $10 and I got 5.
But I'm so happy you're here giving that perspective, because on the outside looking in, people don't realize that. They really don't. This is a business. This is a hustle. This is a grind.
And I have a stat for y'all. It says the creator economy is worth $104.2 billion.
Love that.
And that's consumers, entrepreneurs, companies, all of the platforms and advertisers, all that combined. So yeah, it's a lot of money.
There's budget to spend.
Yes, and honestly, when I feel like I'm doing the most in terms of negotiation, I just think about my ancestors and how they was on the field all them years and didn't get paid. I'm like, okay, this is just reparation.
Get it back.
You know what I'm saying? Right.